Hey, it's Mike with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and it's Monday. It's August 6th. This will be our chart lesson for today. And I worked on the cursor. I can't see it on my end, but I did a test. It seems to be working. There was another option to highlight the cursor, so I've done that. So hopefully, when I'm done with the video, you'll see the yellow highlight. Maybe that'll make it a little easier to follow along as well. So we'll try that as well. But everything tested fine today. I still don't know exactly what happened. I think it has something to do with an upgrade. I do know that the last couple of times that we had a cursor issue or a sound issue or something, it was right after an upgrade. So it seems to maybe it fix it, and then I restart it, and everything seems to be fine. So um, I think when I come in from now on, if it says I've had an update, I'll just restart it automatically, the computer, and make sure we don't have any more issues. So, uh, but all seems to be good, and hopefully, maybe the yellow highlight is helpful, and hopefully it's showing up. I don't see it on my end, but when I did a little quick recording a minute ago and then went back and watched it, I could see it. So it's obviously there after the fact, but I don't see it on my end. So, but hopefully you'll see it, and hopefully it'll be helpful to you. But let's get on with the chart lesson. It's going to be real quick and simple today. It was really quiet. We really were in a trading range. We broke out at around 10:30, and we made a quick measured move up, and then we just went sideways. That pretty much took most of the day up. There is a two-tiered channel working up. We did get a little overshoot here, and then we had the break, and we never could make a new high. As you can see, as we got in the close, it just got flatter and tighter all the way across. So not a lot of trades today. So this won't take long. The 7 o'clock hour came right in this down move, and this is just not bearish enough for my taste. That's a pretty strong move. If this would have even been semi-bearish or even neutral, I might have said, hey, that's worth being green, but that bar is just too bullish. There's a failed second entry long here, but it's right into the lows. I don't think that's worth taking, um, especially with a break and a new low already in place. And you see it end up trapping people. But that's where I saw the first long that I liked on that little trap. And it's basically a double test of this level. You tested it once, you tested it twice. Plus you get that little uh, tick or two lower there, and you're a little bit away from the EMA. This one's close to being green. You could almost argue for this one being green, but generally on a day like this, this is going to bounce at least back to the EMA and probably come back and test the other side. So I like that one. Even though it's close to being aggressive, I think you probably want to try to take that with it being a double test of this level over here and the little tick below that double 2 bar. It's really a double bottom right there, and this is an overall pattern of a double bottom. So I think it's worth taking that trade. If you catch this when you catch a runner, ride it all the way back to the top, really. I'd probably exit on this turn down here because now you got your break and new high. But notice that new low, and you're moving up. You get a first entry, and then you get a second entry. And where does it bounce? It bounces right off that EMA. And you've got plenty of room before this one, and definitely plenty of room for that one. Doesn't matter. It works. And then it pulls back and bounces right here. That's still inside that trend line. So I think you need a higher low, which comes here. But it's not a very good setup, not a good signal bar, several bars in a row, and then you end up getting a doji next to that. But notice it pushes up and pulls back again and gives you a failed second entry short. As long as you got, at this point, you would want to be able to get out before you got to this high, or definitely that one. And you don't really have enough room on this one. So what you might do is let this break higher and drop a limit order back in here. And you could have gotten filled at least back to there. And I believe one more tick back into that bar, which would have given you room. Um, I'd be a little careful on that one going long, right? If it was right into this high too. But really, you've got enough room almost between this one, even if you only used a tick or so. But just make sure your chart could be slightly different. So the key would be, do you have enough room to get out? And the only way to do it on my chart would be to let it break higher and drop a limit order back in here. And then you could have done it. It actually gets enough regardless. It gets exactly enough ticks to scalp out, even if you'd used a buy stop there. But you don't know that ahead of time, so you got to be careful with it. Of course, then you got a two-legged pullback that confirms this trend line. But again, I don't like that signal bar, and then it's right into these highs. And I would have had this up here, but I would have moved it down one of those last closes. And you can see it fits better right across there. And then you get a little breakout pullback long. And it just came off that trend line. So, and that's a fairly nice little reversal there. Two bullish bars in a row. I like going long there. It is into this high, so I made it green. But at the very least, if we keep going higher here, that's what you want to see it pull back and test this and hold like it did and then go higher. And so that's a higher low off this bounce off the key entry point. There's a couple of ways I would look for this measured move, which is just this right here. So I drew that up there and then just put the line there so it would mark it. But I would also look at it like so. There's your first leg up, and see if maybe you get a second leg up. I would measure from here and probably, actually, no, I measured it from here to here. So you would actually want to measure from this point. And that would have put you right into this level here. And you can see we started getting a little resistance for it, pushed up and turned down. But this was probably your better target because this is definitely a range. And so this is probably your better target. And notice we even pushed it a little bit higher than that before it failed and turned back down. Then, of course, it gives you two legs down, and that's your first break. It's kind of hard to know if this is an overshoot. This fits really well. You can see this midline in here, but this could be on up here like so. And then this still fits to a degree right through here. So it's really hard to know which is right. So either way you got it. You got an overshoot if you do it the other way. You don't if you do it this way, but you got your first break. And so you'd still probably expect it to try to retest that high. And you got a higher low here that would have worked. It was after 2 o'clock, but it would have worked. And then it's just nothing else after that would have been worth fooling with, even if it wasn't after 2 o'clock already. So yeah, just a kind of slow day, really. But the reason I pretty much like this down here, right across here, is that generally when you find the right spot, it'll be under that swing, and that's closer to being under that swing rather than over it. And this one's at the top where it should be probably under this swing if you're going to go off the high point. So I believe this one will be right, and I believe that's an overshoot. But it doesn't matter how you saw it. You still got to the same place pretty much no matter how you played it. So, but I just like to point out that I've been trying to show how I do these trend lines. But on this one, I just drew it off the low in the first swing. And originally I had it just a little bit steeper there, maybe two. But when it came back here, you'd probably want to adjust it off that close. Here's another little secret. Let me show you this the way I like to do it. A lot of times it's just going to be off the close, but sometimes when you get a couple of bars here and you got stems, it'll go through the one stem and touch the other stem. Notice how I touched that stem exactly there, the bottom of it. A lot of times it will be, I don't have it right down here, it will be off that, it'll work like that. And so keep that in mind, and that pretty much gets you to the close of this one. You can see how I did that right there. And so that's another little trick that tends to work on that. Then we'll move that one up there. Draw another one for your midline. And you can see that fits pretty well there. I always like to just dot that one. It's not necessary, but it's just a habit that I always did, and I like to do it. It keeps my chart a little. And you notice how you had that little gap right there. It actually ended up backing up and filling the gap, but it gapped over right there and opened right there. So that was one of those gaps. You could probably argue that it gapped over the EMA, but it looks more like, to me, it gapped over Notice that midline fits perfect right there now, and it gapped over that. So I tend to believe that's probably the correct location for it. So anyway, just another little trick there since we had a few more minutes since this is really short. But that's what I saw today. Really slow day, even though it's a nice move up. But if you'd caught a couple of these, if you'd caught this one or this one, you'd had an easy runner. You probably wouldn't have had one here or here. And somebody sent me their chart and asked if they were being a little too conservative in here on some of these trades. And I liked, the only one they had marked that I had marked was this one. Maybe this one and this one. And I like those two. That person will know who they are. We already sent them an email, but they'll get it. And they had a short over here. I didn't like this short. I believe it was right here. And I didn't like it because that bar is too bullish. It's a really strong move below the EMA, and you got a break. But it could easily just tick a tick or two down here and turn up. Just too big a chance of you getting two legs right there. So I'd want a more bearish bar. You can see it would have worked, but I don't like it. And of course, you get a failed second entry long there, but it's too close to these lows, and so I'm not going to go short right there. Anyway, I'm going to wrap it up for today. We'll be back again to do it tomorrow. This is Mac with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and we'll see you next time.